Are you fired up? Because I'm fired up. What's good, everybody? Welcome into Prime Time Early Edge, your daily, weekly, whatever betting brand of record. All of the odds on the Early Edge are presented by the king of all sports books, BetMGM. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it is not close. So many crazy things happening today, as it always seems to do in the National Football League. And I'm telling you, we tell you this all the time, this is the hardest business in the world to try and predict. So I want some reactions before we get into what I consider on paper to be the best Sunday Night Football matchup of the entire season. The Cowboys and the 49ers. San Francisco has a chance to remain undefeated and move to 5-0. They've scored at least 30 in every game thus far. But you guys come here for one reason only. Hashtag the crew, because I have the best in the absolute business. So let's bring them in right now. You know them. You know them. And look, we go on Sunday nights. We go 5 wide. And look at this. Proppy is here. The counselor is here. Coach Phil is here. The 5-tool player, AB, is here. And Coach Phil, I got to start with you because you live in Denver, Colorado. One of the storylines today was Nathaniel Hackett going back to Denver as a member of the Jets. And the way they got it done just a few moments ago, the Jets win by 10 in Denver, and all eyes were on Nathaniel Hackett. How good does it feel for him right now?
Yeah, he must feel vindicated to a certain degree to have that execution at the end where, you know, some things were a little out of sorts from the person who just heavily criticized you know, we always blame the person who was there before us, but we never actually say it out loud. So I think that was the part that was most surprising to the Jets organization. So to come in here and get a win, you know, hats off to them.
Hats off to them. And if people watched Early Edge earlier today, the very last couple of minutes of the show, Proppy, let me come to you because you said something that turned out to be almost prophet-like. Prophetic, I believe, is the word. What did you think of the Dolphins getting it done today, and who got it done?
Yeah, talking about Devon Achane, Coach. I mean, it wasn't too prophetic considering how good this guy's been, but I did think he was in line for another huge day. Certainly had a monster game, 12 carries for $151. Also had a reception for 14 yards. Through 4 games this season, he missed week 1, only had 1 carry in week 2. He is averaging over 12 yards per carry. He is first in literally every single running back statistic metric that exists. Just another unbelievable, dominant performance from him, off to one of the best starts of any running back in NFL history.
Yeah, the chat said I was on a chain. Anytime touchdown, that guy is special. He is special. And Castle, let me come to you. First of all, congratulations, beating me in the showdown today. And it was very, very close. In fact, our showdown came down to the last play of the game. But alas, you cashed it. You've had a pretty good day.
Pretty good day. Yeah, I hit 2 out of 3, lost the Arizona play, which, Coach, I know you liked as well. I mean, James Conner getting injured early really did affect that game in a big way, especially as it relates to Josh Dobbs. But yeah, you know, I think the interesting thing is I had 3 plays on 3, like, pretty bad teams. I had the Jets, I had the Falcons, and I had the Arizona Cardinals. I guess the lesson there is don't be afraid to take some of these bad teams. And oh, by the way, I gave out 2 props unofficially, but there were only 2 props I mentioned on the 12 o'clock show. It was the pass completions for Patrick Mahomes because of the Minnesota Vikings coverage. That came in. It was over Breece Hall's 60.5 rushing yards. That came in. Both came in extremely easily. So again, it's not just about the official picks, but it's about the analysis that we weave in among the official picks. So please pay attention when you watch these shows because those were 2 very, very easy tickets to cash.
Hashtag it pays to watch live. We say it all the time, and we mean it. My guys have the smartest minds, and that's what this business is about. AB, you live in Tennessee. You live in Nashville. And today, the Tennessee Titans continue to do what they've been doing. 1 week, we look great. The next week, let's go to Indianapolis and look pathetic. But the Colts, they lose Anthony Richardson again, but they still get the job done.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, first off on Anthony Richardson, I mean, this guy he's good. He's tough. But he's been getting hurt legitimately every single game. And in the NFL, man, like, it's not Florida. Like, you can't run the ball constantly. When you get slammed down on your shoulder, dude, bad things going to happen. And then Tennessee, look, man, like the last couple of years, they got rid of their entire offensive line. All right, they let A.J. Brown go in a trade. They haven't spent any money on their offense, and it shows. This is a team that averages 16.5 points per game, and that's exactly what you're going to get. And in the NFL, it's not good enough, man. They paid all the money to Jeffrey Simmons. They paid all the money to Kevin Byard, a safety. Two excellent players, don't get me wrong, but when you invest no money in your offense, it's what you're going to get. Also, I had a horrible day in terms of picks of quarterbacks. So if you want to watch in real time somebody grind their ass to come on back, you're going to watch it tonight. So that's how we get down. Let's go.
I love when you're like a rabid dog needing to come out of that corner. Nobody responds to a questionable, I won't even call it a bad day, questionable day like my man AB. All right, let's get into it, guys. Tonight is a really special matchup. On paper, at least in the regular season, these two teams have been fantastic. Now, Coach Phil, obviously we're going to start with your keys to the game, but the last 2 years, the 49ers have knocked the Cowboys out both times in the playoffs. They have a chance to become just the fifth team ever to start the season 5-0 and score at least 30 points in each and every game. They're laying 3.5. This number has not moved the entire week. The total is 45. Coach Phil, let's start with your keys to the game.
Absolutely. So we got the Dallas Cowboys are 3-1 going on their Levi Stadium against the 4-0 49ers. What a matchup. I mean, this is the best matchup of the season. We know data. We know a quarter's worth of the season's data on both these teams. These are two premier teams, and we get to watch them play in about an hour. So the first key to the victory for me is going to be Dak staying in rhythm with a balanced attack. Getting Tony Pollard his touches with an offensive line that's now healthy, finally running downhill. We should see Tony Pollard get involved early. CeeDee Lamb needs to be a great playmaker down the field for Dak. Jake Ferguson, who's an emerging tight end target, has to have a big night. The second thing is that Cowboys defense. They must rattle Purdy. I mean, he's been consistent. He's been pick-free. He's done a lot of good things managing the football. He hasn't lost in 9 starts, I believe. This guy is playing really good football, but Dan Quinn with a 4-man rush will bring some pressure with Micah Parsons. The way he's been getting around tackles has been amazing, and then his 6-man pressure game is some of the best in the league, so expect Purdy to have to perform off of a dirty pocket at times. Going over to the 49ers, they got to stay creative with their skill position players and the touches that they receive. Christian McCaffrey, 600 all-purpose yards and 7 touchdowns, the first person to do that since Jim Brown and Emmitt Smith, I believe. Deebo Samuel, look for him to line up in the backfield, get some touches out of the backfield just to disguise him so he's not so easy to identify. We have Kittle, I'm thinking drag, shallows, naked boots, and slide routes with him tonight. Then Brandon Ayuk is emerging as a number 1 receiver, a legitimate outside guy, so watch him. The second thing for the 49ers is going to be stop the run. They're third in the NFL, averaging 66 yards a game, which is unbelievable. But again, they're 5th overall, and if they can stop the run and stop Pollard and really force this offense to be one-dimensional with the pass, it'll be favorable for their outcome.
Let that marinate for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let that marinate for a second. Do you want to do the work? You can't do that work. I don't even know what you're thinking about. You can't do that work. Now, see, I'm going to start with you. Because if Dallas has any shot of winning tonight, and based off of what I just heard from Phil, they're going to force Dak to pass. Well, if Dak is going to pass, somebody's got to catch the football. Who do you think that's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. I mean, what's really interesting about CeeDee Lamb is he's only hit the number that I'm betting here, over 65.5 receiving yards once this season. But part of the reason for that is because the Cowboys have jumped all over teams early. In 3 of their 4 games, they've really taken monster leads. I mean, remember that Giants game on primetime. So keep that in mind when you're getting this CeeDee Lamb number. I honestly think this CeeDee number should be 73.5, but because he's only hit it once and because he's had some down games because of the game scripts, we're getting a discount on the number. The San Francisco 49ers, an elite front 4, you could say an elite front 7, but if they have any weaknesses, it's definitely in the secondary. Outside receivers, slot receivers, they can expose the San Francisco 49ers a little bit. So again, I think we're getting a discount on CeeDee Lamb at 65.5. I do think this should be 73.5. And I am pretty confident he's going to hit it. One more thing, Coach. JB says in the chat about the plays in the 12 o'clock hour. He says if they were easy tickets to cash, they would have been official plays. I didn't say they were easy tickets to cash. I said they cashed easily. There's a difference there. If you don't want my analysis with the picks, then just hit up the recap screen, JP, and you won't even have to worry about it. But we like to weave some analysis within these picks, and sometimes picks emanate from that, just like Wan'Dale Robinson over 18.5 receiving yards last week in prime time. So FYI, I'm going to give you some analysis. You can choose whether you want to make the plays or not.
Well, then.
Spicy.
It's rare you get to see him mad.
I'm here for that. I am here for that. Everybody thinks this is a one-way street. Oh, no. This is not a one-way street. Not at all. See ya. Well said. Well said. Now,
Thank you, sir.
Brock Purdy is the fourth quarterback in NFL history to start 9-0 or better. San Francisco tonight has a chance to win their 15th game in a row. We're talking about regular season, of course. And the way Brock Purdy goes about his business is so workmanlike that he could play for a really long time and have a lot of wins, and maybe his numbers won't be as great, but boy, his legacy will be, which feeds into what play for you tonight.
Yeah, I've got a contrarian play here. I'm going to fade Brock Purdy under 254.5 passing plus rushing yards. This number has actually ticked up a few yards. So if you like this play and like my analysis, you can still get a great number, an even better number than I gave out here. But I like this for a number of reasons. Purdy has been exceptional this year. No argument there, but I think he really benefits from that system, from the team being as good as they are, from playing with big leads. It's much easier to play from ahead than it is from behind. But the opponent tonight, the Dallas Cowboys, this is a tough matchup. Number one, the Cowboys are a significant run funnel. Teams that are playing the Cowboys are averaging -3 pass rate over expected. So they're opting to go very run heavy against this Dallas team. We know San Francisco likes to run the football. So this is a matchup where I anticipate they're going to lean heavily on Christian McCaffrey and the ground game. I think as a result of that, there's going to be limited or minimal passing volume. Even if that doesn't take place, however, this Cowboys team is a brutal matchup for quarterbacks. Number one in EPA allowed per dropback. Number one in coverage grade. They're also number one in quick pressure rate. So it is very difficult to throw against this team. Regardless of the game script, I think there's a good chance that he stays under this number. One other prop I have that I absolutely love is Jake Ferguson over 29.5 receiving yards. He is the tight end for the Cowboys. Coach Phil mentioned him when he was breaking down the keys to the game. This is an ascending player who has really shown a lot of chemistry with Dak Prescott. Back-to-back 7 targets in each of the last 2 games. Last week, he saw 67% route participation, which isn't a great number, but that was his season high, and his role on this offense is going to continue to grow. What is incredible, however, is he has been a first read on 25% of his targets. That leads all tight ends. That includes Travis Kelce. That includes Mark Andrews. So when he is on the field, he is being heavily, heavily targeted, and that is by design. I think his role in this offense continues to grow. I think as a result of this game script against the 49ers, we're going to have to see Dak Prescott and the passing offense air the ball out more than they would like to. I like see us play quite a bit on CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson can easily eclipse 30 yards, which I anticipate him doing. So I absolutely love him over 29.5 receiving yards tonight.
This might be blasphemy, but my dad was a minister, United Methodist, for 40-some-odd years, so I feel like I'm the expert on this. There's a very Jesus vibe to Proppy giving out his
it's heavenly. Literally.
I was like, I feel like I should play these no matter what. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? By the way, I don't know if it was JB, but I'm back at Sia because sensitive Sia. No, this is just a guy that works his ass off every single day, puts in all the hours, puts in all the work, and then doesn't necessarily like when somebody questions the way he goes about it. That's what he did. Is that sensitive? Then I'm sensitive too. Yes, Proppy.
I want all the smoke. So if anybody wants to come after someone, skip my cousin Sia and just come right for me.
I'd love to see you get hot too, to be honest with you. All right, now. See ya. Stand by, man. I pop for that. Proppy, we're done with you too. For now, of course. Now, AB, it's time for a little tag team. You go first, and then Coach Phils brings us up from behind. What do we got tonight, sir?
Yeah, we got the no-fly zone. And let me go ahead and say, anyone that has any type of comments, throw them at me because you're probably accurate. All right. So just do that. Like we're all good to go here. All right. So let me pull up the no-fly zone. We're going to start with Dak Prescott, all right? And if anybody is brand new to the no-fly zone, quickly let me show you. Top left, that is the 49ers secondary completion percentage rankings across the NFL. Bottom left, Dak Prescott's INT splits this year. He's only thrown one. So obviously the information is a little low. And then on the right is, well, Dak Prescott historically and his numbers for 2023. So when you take a look at Dak Prescott and what he's facing today, been pretty good quarterback this year. The interceptions are down compared to last season. However, the key to the San Francisco 49ers defense is forcing Dak to throw in the middle of the field. That's exactly where it is, and especially when on the run. Now, Dak last year had issues really with, kind of the hitch routes, the quick routes on the right and the left, but over the middle of the field, that is where the 49ers are going to feast. So let's bring up Brock Purdy here, because this one's fascinating, all right? What I want you to notice, that bottom right, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Wow.
115.1 passer rating. You're right, Coach. Look at him, man. He's thrown 1,000 yards this year. You think that all the 49ers do is run the football? No, man. Brock Purdy and this pass offense has been aggressive. But here is the thing. Can the Cowboys defense, as Coach Phil was alluding to, not only here, but with Dak Prescott, can they force him to get and play in uncomfortable positions and put the ball where he doesn't want it to be? The 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFL at time of possession. That's why you're going to see in just a second. I normally always play punts. That's why I'm not playing tonight, because they could go on 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives and just hold the ball the entire quarter, right? Can the Cowboys defense get to Brock Purdy? There are spots all over the field. Mid, deep, middle of the field, right of the field, even short left, but they have to make it uncomfortable for Purdy. So let me pull up my picks here real quick, and then we'll get to Coach Phil because I want to hear his breakdown on this one. So the picks that I have, 3 of them for you right here. Cowboys 49ers over 3.5 field goals at plus 105. We're going to grab this at plus money. I think that early, and I think that late, and really in between, we can find this if we have a tight game. Cowboys, 49ers, both teams to score 20-plus points. Coach, you mentioned the 49ers record in regards to 30-plus point games. Look, the Cowboys should score 2, all right? And I think that they can find pockets of success tonight, so we're going to play that at plus money as well. And then finally, Cowboys, 49ers, over 2.5 turnovers at minus 120. This counts for interceptions, fumbles, in both teams. So we're not going to lock ourselves in directly at one quarterback and only at interceptions. Fumbles count too. Everyone on the field counts. So those are our 3.
Oh, I love when AB goes to work on primetime early edge. So, Coach Phil, let me come to you now, because as we look at that, what do you make of the chances for both guys tonight?
So the statistics don't speak to a bunch of turnovers, right? But what the reality is, if you throw up Dak's graphic for me, we know we've talked about this. We've talked about this over the last few weeks, that there's a lot of single safety zone, and San Francisco's no different. They're going to be single safety zones. What does that mean? Well, Hufunga's back, who's a Pro Bowl player, and then the 2 linebackers, Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, are the guys in the problematic areas. All right, and we know we have Nick Bosa bringing pressure, so there is a probability that there's going to be some opportunities for picks, and that's really going to be the differentiating point between this football game. All right, there's 2 excellent defenses. Go over here to Brock's. And again, he's taken great care of the football, but he has not seen a defense quite like Dan Quinn's Dallas Cowboys defense, coach. That's just the reality of it. And look specifically on 3rd and 7 to 10 and 11 plus, that's when the ball could be in jeopardy for Brock Purdy and the 49ers.
Love that breakdown. As we go to our next question, great job, Coach Phil. Proppy, I'm coming to you. Marshall in the chat said, based off of what we think the game script is going to be and the way AB just broke it down, and Coach Phil, should we fade Tony Pollard and his numbers tonight?
Never fade a player based on game script. That's one of the first pieces of advice I would give someone betting props. You want to feel comfortable regardless of game script in your prop. That being said, Tony Pollard has been the least efficient starting running back in the NFL this season by a significant margin. Pretty shocking considering last year everyone was clamoring for more and more work to take over that backfield. Well, they've given him massive workloads and really hasn't produced much at all, leaving a lot of yards on the table. That being said, I do think this is a matchup where he can have some success, believe it or not. Still, that I'm not very comfortable just based on some of the efficiency fading him, but the numbers are low, so I don't feel comfortable fading him. I don't feel comfortable necessarily playing his overs either. So unfortunately, Pollard's mostly a stay away as far as I'm concerned.
All right, we'll stay on the Dallas side of things. See, you like CeeDee Lamb and his yardage. His receptions is 5.5. Pretty juicy, though, minus 145. We're playing Jake Ferguson already, so talk to me about either Cooks or Gallup as maybe the number 2 guy tonight through the air.
Yeah, I don't mind Cooks and Gallup, but between the two, because I don't like the CeeDee Lamb receptions prop. Personally, I think it's a little too high. But I like Mike Gallup's receiving yards, which I believe last time I checked was right around the 27.5 to 30.5 range. Again, this secondary can get exposed, particularly by receivers on the outside. And while I thought Brandon Cooks was sort of going to be that second receiver to CeeDee Lamb, it does look like it's been a little bit more Michael Gallup lately. So I would be looking at Michael Gallup overs as well.
It's today says nobody has insight on the over-under. I stay away too. You must have been reading my mind because that's where I was coming next. AB is my guy for team totals and for the totals. And after what I saw from the Eagles today, AB, they held the ball for almost 38 minutes. That was as dominant as I've ever seen a team when it comes to controlling the football. San Francisco kind of does it the same way. Are you leaning towards the under on the total, perhaps?
Well, I'll say this. All right, this number is efficient, sitting at 45. I think it's a perfect total here. I lean to the over because I do think that we're going to see at times both defenses force the offense into kind of uncomfortable spots, but they're also going to have success with that, right? If that makes sense. That being said, the key is this. If you think that Dallas can play from ahead, play the over. If you think that the 49ers jump out to a big lead, play the under, because as Coach Phil broke down perfectly, Kyle Shanahan, you talk about the Eagles holding the ball. There's no one better in the NFL at holding the ball while getting first downs, while just bleeding you in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. They can do it. But if anybody is big into watching college football, the 49ers are very similar to the Michigan Wolverines. Not only do they control the game, they'll score on your tail quick too. Do not think that slow means that they're not scoring. San Francisco can do that in a hurry. So, yeah, man, like I lean to the over, but I could see anybody that has an opinion on either side.
Coach Phil, I know that you and I have talked privately many times, and you've said without question that Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I think as far as a creative offensive play caller, and then also keeping all of these components and all these pieces happy. I mean, you got CMC over here and Debo over here and Kittle over there, and even Elijah Mitchell and guys that are down the truck. It takes a skill to finesse and to talk to these young people about their roles and that, they could go somewhere else and shine, but they're going to be here. We're going to win more games. I think that's a remarkable understated job by Kyle.
So what you're saying is that I am like the Kyle Shanahan of the early edge. I've got so many stars that I have to keep happy, and I got to keep feeding them the rock and got to make sure that I feel that way. Finally, somebody understands me. Thank Coach Phil. Thank you very much. Now, Phil just used a name that has, in my opinion, gone right to the front of the line probably when it comes to the MVP voting, and we don't normally like to talk about running backs in that vein. It's always a quarterback. But this year, this man's a beast. Last week, he scored 4 times, 4 different touchdowns. So let's look at his numbers today, and you break down what you think CMC is going to do tonight. 4.5 plus money, 35.5 minus 120. Now, this is where it gets good. His rushing number, his combo number, 117.5. That's where I lean today. Talk to me.
I like the rushing total here, actually, believe it or not. Obviously, a versatile 3-down skill set. His usage rate has been absolutely incredible. C-Mac is certainly, in my opinion, the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year thus far through the season, and he's going to continue to be heavily utilized, specifically in this matchup. I often talk about the path of least resistance. When we're looking at this Dallas Cowboys team, they have a dynamic pass rush and a great secondary. The way to offset that is to run the football. We know the 49ers like to run the football almost as much as any offense in the league. So I think it's going to be a huge dose of Christian McCaffrey. I could see him with 20 to 22 possibly even more rushing attempts in this game. So I really think his rushing yards is the way to go. I think he's going to have a big workload today.
All right, that rushing number is 79.5 currently on most books. So I just played it myself as you were given the take in real time. Now, see, let me come over to you, because there's a lot of big-time names that, as Coach Phil said, have figured out how to put their egos in check and say, I want to play for a championship team. And one of those names is Debo. He could be a superstar for somebody else, and he's just kind of another guy who's an absolute beast. 4.5, 47.5 minus 125 for Debo.
Yeah, I think I would hit the unders there. I mean, this is one of those weird situations where, like, Debo last week, I don't think he had a single catch. He had 3 rushing attempts, and honestly, I think rushing is a little sneaky with Debo because I believe Elijah Mitchell's on IR, Jordan Mason probably the backup to Christian McCaffrey. I think those numbers are just a little bit too high considering what Debo has done. We're not 100% sure he's shaken off his injuries. If anything, I would take the receiving yards as opposed to the receptions because I just don't think he's going to get enough looks to get the receptions. But we know how good he is at the yak after the catch. So I do kind of like his overs with the receiving yards, but I don't think I'd be willing to bet it.
All right, it's 47.5 currently right now. Proppy, go.
Debo's very interesting. Last week, he was clearly operating at less than 100%. Sia mentioned it. Only 1 target, 0 receptions. Certainly abnormal for a player of Debo Samuel's caliber. Then this season, this week, he did practice. He doesn't have an injury designation, which suggests he's definitely going to be healthier than he was last week. But a report did come out that he would be operating at less than 100% tonight. However, if he was 100%, I would be all over his receiving yards, specifically because of all the wide receivers or pass catchers for San Francisco. He has the most shallow ADOT. His average depth of target is very shallow this season, under 7 yards. I believe because of this Cowboys pass rush, Brock Purdy is going to be forced to get rid of the ball very quickly. Takes time for Brandon Ayuk for his routes to develop deep down the field. Not the case with Debo when he's running these routes very close to the line of scrimmage. So if he is healthy tonight, I could see him heavily utilized in San Francisco's passing attack.
You could have said that like 90 seconds ago before I played his receiving and his yardage. Phil, go.
He could be in the backfield, in a split backfield with him and McCaffrey at the same time. That would be something that would be helpful to neutralize some of the pass rush and get the ball out with some screens, some wide zone stuff. So if you see him in the backfield early in the game together, then I would lean towards seeing him get more receptions out of the backfield.
Boom. Nat, I love that from both of you. AB, I'm coming to you. Uncle Dave is on Dak Prescott over 34.5 passing attempts tonight, minus 104. His completions is 23.5, and his over 1.5 touchdowns is plus 138. Do you like anything with Dak tonight on that side of the football?
Attempts. I think I would keep it simple, and I think I would play attempts, right? Like I can see completions as well, especially if they're using running backs in the short passing game, which I do think that they're going to be creative in doing, but I wouldn't try to overthink this one. I think attempts are probably your way to go. And I'll give you a stat that will back that up, that the Cowboys likely will be playing from behind, which will give you a better opportunity to hit those attempts. Christian McCaffrey has scored 7 touchdowns this year. Okay. Have you ever met someone that when they go to the airport, all right, they are very in tune, packed, they are efficient, they are ready to go 2-3 hours beforehand. And then if something happens and they're late, all hell breaks loose. Okay. Christian McCaffrey, all of his touchdowns this year have come when they're playing from ahead or tied. Not a single one when playing from behind. Now, they don't play from behind all that much. So that's obviously why. But let me also say 100% of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns have been on first down and second down. They don't wait the third down. These are an efficient style offense from the 49ers, and they have to, and well, they don't have to, but they want to play from ahead. They want to get to the airport early. So I say all of that to say this. Cowboys likely play from behind. Dak likely is throwing the ball more than he normally does. Attempts are your way to go.
Boom. Real quickly, Music Man is asking Jake Ferguson, 30.5 now. Should he still take it there, Proppy?
Yes, just as a rule of thumb, if something moves up 1 yard, you can still take it.
Rule of thumb. Love it. Now, Steven, you just wrote exactly what's been in my brain all day. I can't see Kyle Shanahan being out coached by Mike McCarthy. Can't see the Niners losing to the Cowboys. Niners money line -180. Severance style, baby. And I've already done that. Normally, you would never do this. But when you're talking about a 14-game winning streak, when you're talking about never having it be close, why would you want to throw any of the yards in there? I know it's juicy, but I think tonight the juice is worth the squeeze.
Coach, real quick, sorry, not to interrupt you. I apologize, but what is the number? Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in 13 straight games?
-200 anytime touchdown.
Okay, yeah, 13 straight games is insane.
-200.
Yeah,
they just price it to where you can't play it, or if you do, you're like, oh, okay, if I hit it, but if you don't, man, that really hurt. And I don't like to make bets like that. I hate bets like that, but it's not that I haven't done it. All right, we are 2 minutes past the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock in the East. It is 5 o'clock out here in the West. This is Primetime Early Edge. We are presented all of the odds on the show by the king of all sportsbooks, BetMGM, and powered by SportsLine. Before we get to the most fun part of the show, does anybody have anything else on this game tonight that you need to get off your chest? Phil.
I just want to talk Jake Ferguson, just looking at the West Coast offense traditionally, he is trending towards being a real guy for Mike McCarthy. That's traditionally been a position that you would like to utilize somebody to really get him going. So just like watching the last 3 weeks and seeing the evolution from week 1 to where he is now, like to me, he's an ascending player, as arrow up guy. I agree with Poppy.
Okay. We're getting the thumbs up from Proppy. All right.
I love it. Yeah. When Coach Phil's on my side, I couldn't feel better about it.
Real quick, I've got one. Kyle Shanahan is so in tune with everything that he does. He even worked out a deal with New Era to design his own 49ers hats because he was like, I don't like what the NFL is giving us of the team gear. Yeah. So he has his own line. You can look it up. You could Google it. He literally went through, designed it, and said, this is exactly how I get down. Coach, I know you do the same. You know what? You can't stop greatness. So there you go.
He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude, guys.
Yeah, he is, dude.
I do feel like he's stealing a little bit of page out of Bill Belichick's with the cutoff hoodie sleeves. So slow your roll, Mr. Shanahan. He was a great coach, no doubt, but I think Bill's got the fashion on lock with the cutoff.
Yeah.
hoodie.
I will say I do understand fighting for a long time to make all of your own merch and then having it kind of stumble out of the blocks. I feel that. But we're going to get there. Don't even worry about it. We're going to get there. Maybe I need to call Kyle Shanahan. Maybe he can help me out just a little bit for that. Maybe so. All right. Now, what was the last one? Was it Thursday night? Thursday night. I'm just kind of moving around, just getting settled in. All of a sudden, my phone goes absolutely berserk because a third member of the crew is now kicking it in the club, popping bottles. Proppy, how good did that feel? Thursday night, necessarily Friday morning, but Thursday night. Felt good, right?
It is glorious to be in there with Cousin Sia and you, Coach. Absolutely great. Just want to get our guys, Coach Phil and AB, in there so the 5 of us can all wave to EC while he just waits outside in the cold.
He's still going to be outside screaming, but I'm part of the crew. I swear I'm part of the crew.
That's changed my whole demeanor towards this bet. You know, it's changed. That I've taken it real serious at this point.
It doesn't take long.
First couple days.
Yeah. It's not fun anymore when we're inside and you're on the outside.
No, it's not fun at all.
I know. So here we go. By the way, Phil was the first one again today.
I will continue to be.
I know you will, but I want to get reaction for the other guys when Phil gives out his play. All right, we have to go in order. See, you're the first one. Who do you like tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to make this simple. You know, one thing we saw in the Eagles game today against the Rams was they really wanted to get Dallas Goedert involved. It was like a conscious effort because he's just had a bad season. I mean, he's had some production from a reception standpoint, but the yardage hasn't been there. Look at George Kittle's box scores. It is not good. I don't expect George Kittle to be involved the entire game, but he is a guy I specifically think they're going to try to get involved early in the game, especially in order to neutralize that pass rush that Brock Purdy is going to see. And you neutralize that by getting the ball out really fast. And George Kittle is just the target for that. If McCaffrey isn't open, I think George Kittle is the next guy in at plus 1,300. Really like him to score the first touchdown.
All right. That's a really big name to be riding with tonight. Damn it, Sia. You got him. Okay. Prop. No. I get to go next. I was the second one in the club. I almost forgot. See, here's the scenario I played in my mind tonight. I wanted to make it harder on myself because I like to challenge myself. So I waited just a little bit. And I see that they're going to fake it to CMC going that way. And my man Kyle is going to go out there, and nobody's going to guard the big boy. Nobody's going to worry about him coming out of the backfield. No, no, no. And at plus 2,500, I got in with chalk, and I'm going to get in with a really good number. So give me Kyle J. Usyk plus 2,500. I feel great about him tonight. All right, Proppy.
Just because I've gotten in once, Coach, doesn't mean that I'm not willing to go full chalk again. CeeDee Lamb, love CeeDee Lamb at this number. If there's a big strike from Dallas, it is going to be to CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, getting an alpha wide receiver 1 at this number. Even if the Cowboys are an underdog, I think you have to go with CeeDee here. Love it. Okay,
so Proppy is gone. So now we go to the people inside. Getting very, very twisted tonight to those on the outside. I was shocked that Debo was a plus 1,000. I'll be honest with you. But he brought receipts. He didn't even wait for me to ask. Phil, explain yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gotten pretty brutal at this point. You know, I mean, I'm in there with EC, and I love AB, but you know, he's picking the defensive half the time. So I did that. I made a couple of picks to make some jokes and some clever little limericks and things like that. But, you know, I wake up and I see these emails, and I don't like these little gems not next to my name. You know, I'm icy. You know, I like to have nice things. So Debo Samuel, I mean, this is a guy who with the position flexibility, the high probability of him getting in the end zone. I need to get in the club, man. I mean, I'm 44 years old. I got 2 kids. I'm a wash dad. I want to go to the club once in a while.
Let me just say this, Phil. You think it bothers you now? Wait till you get to like week 13 or week 14 and you're still not in the club. Then you'll be driving yourself crazy. Like literally waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. IT issues during this segment every time internet's going out.
All right, AB. Yeah. Ignore the jabs from Coach Phil. I love your picks for the defense.
Oh, hey, look, man, Coach Phil's my dog, right? And speaking of dogs, when you have a locker room full of alphas like the 49ers do, and not only that, but the locker room is together, right? Like they're playing together. They're trying to one-up each other, defense, offense, special teams, but in a team-positive way. That's exactly how this 49ers team gets down. They can't wait, and they want to be that catalyst that throws the match on the fire first and says, here you go, dog. Short field, punch it in. I think that the 49ers defense is going to look to score and make it a point early because, trust me, they understand what time it is tonight, and they're looking across saying, oh, Dallas, you think you're on our level? No, you're not on our level. Welcome to Santa Clara. So I think that they're going to try to do that. And let me also say, I'm standing out here in front of the club trying to give $100 bills to anyone working here who will allow me in. Look, I'm not above anyway. I'm cutting right in. I think that's how the 49ers defense is going to get down tonight.
They're saying no to you because I gave them 2 to keep you guys out of the club. Are you kidding me? I knew you'd bring that one strong. Allie says I'm with you, AB. And if Allie's got your back, tonight could be your night.
Allie's the best, yeah.
I mean, the Dallas defense has been scoring like crazy. How come nobody took the Dallas defense tonight?
EC's not here. EC's not here. He would have taken him.
You're a savage. Oh, you fit on so nicely. It didn't take you long to figure out who EC was. All right, now it is 10 after the hour. We have no time to waste. So for those of you who dropped in at the top of the hour, don't even worry about it. These are our best bets. We'll go around them very quickly and give you one line as to why. Proppy, start us off.
Yeah, Brock Purdy under 254.5 passing and rushing yards. Going for the combination here because he doesn't really rush a lot. He's only had 10-plus rushing yards, I believe, in 2 of his career 9 starts. But it's a tough matchup. I also expect a run-heavy approach from Dallas. That's why I think there's going to be minimal passing volume. And then we're going to Jake Ferguson over 29.5 receiving yards. Comfortable with this number at 30.5 as well. Coach Phil mentioned that he is an ascending player, become very comfortable as Dak Prescott's security blanket, back-to-back 7 targets in consecutive weeks as well.
Love it. Uncle Dave's on Dak Prescott over 34.5 passing attempts. AB told you he liked that one very much. And then Jake Ferguson over 3.5 catches, minus 125. So we got plays on both of Jake Ferguson. Counselor, talk to me.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb over 65.5 receiving yards. I'd probably play this up to 67, 68.5 because I think he'll eclipse 70. This is just one of those things where we're getting a discounted line because of the game scripts weeks 1 through 4. It's going to be a different game script now because we know San Fran is probably going to be neutral or they're going to be playing from behind. I'm referring to the Cowboys. So CeeDee Lamb, when you look at a typical situation, he's enjoying most of the air yards, about a 30% or more target share. That's what we're going to see today. He's going to eclipse this number.
Yeah, look for him in the final 2 minutes of each half to get a majority of those. That happens all the time. They really do a good job with the 2-minute offense. AB, you're up.
Yep. We're going to play over 2.5 turnovers, playing over 3.5 field goals, and both teams to score 20-plus points. This game is going to be phenomenal tonight. I can't wait. And it's a chess match all throughout. Every single down, every single play call, pass, run matters. And once we get turnovers introduced in this game, all hell's going to break loose, man. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome.
All right. Those are all of our best bets. And you guys know we end every single one of our shows because knowledge is power. It's not just about the picks. It's about making yourself smarter. What's the number one most important thing? And these two teams are going to be here all season long. They're looking forward to tonight. Counselor, start us off.
Yeah, I didn't make it an official play, but I do like the Niners minus 3.5. I just want to point that out there because when these two teams play, especially in big spots, normally in the playoffs, the Niners just push around the Dallas Cowboys. I'm looking for that again today, but I only bring all of this up because A, I think the Niners are going to win, and B, there might be a live bet opportunity on behalf of the Niners, especially if we see that Dallas Cowboys defense not getting home early on Brock Purdy. It could be a long night if that's the case, and that's when I would hit a live bet on San Francisco.
You got to be watching the game to live bet, though. Very, very important. Proppy, you're up.
Fascinating matchup between two very good teams, obviously, in the NFC. We've seen Dallas so far have a very conservative offense, very run-heavy. Despite that, Tony Pollard has not performed well. He's been inefficient. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, has been very good and efficient. I'm curious if we finally see Dallas open up the passing game a little bit, see a little more passing volume, see some more throwing on first down. What is interesting, though, is the San Francisco run defense. Historically, they've been great with Kyle Shanahan. They have been bad this season, 29th in EPA allowed per rush. So it does lend itself to a good matchup for Tony Pollard. But again, very inefficient. I want to see if Dallas is going to be aggressive throwing the football.
Coach Phil, bring us home.
Yeah, to me, this is the biggest football game that's been played in 2023, and that's not hyperbole in my mind. There is implications that go far beyond tonight, well into the playoffs, home field advantage, things of that nature. This is going to do huge ratings. Wait till you guys see in the next couple of days. This is a big game. They both have excellent rosters, but I think, like AB said, when it really boils down to it, it's going to be about turnovers. Who's going to make the fewest mistakes? That's going to be the victor in this game, in my opinion. So when he pops back in, he heard his name, he's back. But when you see the final score and you look at the turnover totals, I would be 90% certain that the one who wins the turnover battle does win this football game.
AB, you're back.
Yeah, you know what? I believe that my computer went through the same thing that both of these defenses are going to go through tonight, and that's, can you come above and when things don't go your way, come back, play tough, force something, create something for your offense. That's what it's about tonight. Can you create and play a team game to make it easier for the other side? Whoever could do that, yeah, they're going to get done.
And I'm looking forward to San Francisco. Don't think for a second that there aren't egos in the NFL. Don't think for a second that Kyle Shanahan didn't look at what the Eagles did here in California today and said, you know what? They're not better than we are. Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they can dominate, but so can we. And I think tonight they want to show the entire world just how good they are, how complete of a team that they are. And I think they're going to lay it on the Cowboys tonight in a major, major way. Do not forget, we are back tomorrow night live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, counting down to Monday Night Football, the Packers and the Las Vegas Raiders with me and the crew. So pay it forward, be kind to one another, and really enjoy the game tonight. We don't get these all that often. Tonight's going to be an absolute banger for about a quarter. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know. Damn it, I'm excited. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. My entire crew, Lumbo, Counselor, Proppy, AB, Coach Phil, and of course the Snake always lurking around. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. For those of you who wanted to complain tonight, that's okay. Just don't do it here. It's not what the early edge, be positive, is all about. Good luck.